Welcome to the Principal Podcast, where we talk about how the best professional services firms grow. Whether you're looking to scale your firm or learn from the stories of founders and leaders who've done it, you're in the right place. Join us as we interview the best leaders in professional services. Let's get on with the show. Jean, welcome to the Principal Podcast, and congratulations for being the first guest with the new introduction.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to be here.
It is my pleasure. Jean, tell us the story. What got you into consulting? What got you into what you're doing now?
This is the one that's like kind of weird to say, but I lost everything. I built a business successfully, and then one day it wasn't successful, and I had to reinvent myself. It was a long journey back, but I'm really glad that whatever happened, and I can go any level of detail you want. I'm not going to hide anything, but losing everything in your business is really breaks you in so many ways. But I was just failed to know who I was and where I was going, and I had to rebuild all that.
Are you comfortable sharing what happened? You made me curious now.
I'll share with you. I got laid off right after 9/11. So 2001, for all you young people, that was a long time ago. But I had was looking for an idea before that, but I was happy with the company I was at. It was at a startup. We were doing e-commerce, and I thought we would, make it. But after 9/11, everything changed. And I took about a month of soul searching, played a little bit of golf, and kind of leaned in on my own e-commerce business, sort of a service business as well. But it was sports tours. It started off with just selling tickets to different things that were locally. By the end of it, after almost 10 years, I was working 7 big events a year. I was working the Olympics, the World Cup soccer, the Super Bowls, the Masters, the Kentucky Derby, the biggest international events in the world. And to give you a frame of reference, the biggest event I ever did was the Beijing Olympics. We took 8,500 people to Beijing. We had hotels for some, we had tickets for some, but it was an incredible big ordeal. It was very difficult. We made a lot of money. And I leveraged all that growth and my credibility into the Vancouver Olympics, 2010. I had a big contract with a good friend of mine, paid him $3 million. And as they say, he failed to deliver the contract. The reality of this is he took the money, never intended to do this, is my opinion. We had a legal battle for 4 years, but he took everything from me. I lost the business, and I had to rebuild myself, as I kind of talked about before. And so that's kind of what happened.
How does one recover from this?
I guess not everybody does, but I didn't have any other choice. I felt like I had a 3-year-old son. I had a wife who I thought would leave me, because that would have probably been the easy thing to do, is just say, look, this is your problem. I'm going to take my son and find something else. But she didn't. She stuck with me. We're still together. We've been together for 24 years as of this year. When I say, how do you get it back? There was a lot of things that I had to work through. I had to get a job. And as an entrepreneur, that is soul sucking. Working for someone else, being told how to do something, being told when to do it, being told, don't do it this way, because this is, someone else is going to do that. All the things I had to deal with. And I was barely making any money compared to what I was making, because we were at the height of that business. I was doing about 7 million, and I was probably making 300,000-400,000 a year. And I was traveling the world. I mean, I had freedom. Every sports fan probably goes, that's the dream job, of traveling the world and doing sports stuff. And it was, but it also wasn't, because the risk I took cost me everything in that business. I do look back though, and I think it was a very terrible thing that happened. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but it was also the best thing that ever happened to me, because the journey back built a stronger version of me. And that's easy to say, but I lost my entire confidence in myself, and all that had to be rebuilt. I had thought about, what my next move would be. And this is 2010. the economy wasn't recovered yet from the 2008 crash, but I was really keen to make a difference in the world. Instead of just making money, the sports tour business, I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to have a legacy, make an impact. And so I thought about the person in my life that made the biggest impact for me in a business standpoint, and that was Linda. Linda was my first coach, and she really helped me grow as an entrepreneur, as a leader. And I said, I want to do that for someone else. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, who wants to hire a coach who just ran their business into the ground, losing everything, and is literally having to rent from their mother? I was lucky to have a mother that was able to do that for me as me and my family moved into the house that we have now, and we are able to live in it for the last 16 plus years. That being said, I got coach training. I leaned into the work and the transformation that I made personally. Just going through that training was deep, profound, all the things and those tools I thought would be very useful helping other people grow. And I was right. I really leaned into the work for myself as a coach, got certified, and then I started coaching right away. And as I had a job, I was kind of moonlighting, I guess, for about a year. And then 2012, the company I was working with sold. I helped them, position all that. I got no benefit from it whatsoever other than a pat on the back. And I was able to start my business in 2012. And I look back and realize it was very hard. It was not easy for the first 6 or 7, maybe 8 years. But then as I figured it out, knowing how to sell, knowing how to market, knowing how to position, knowing how to deliver, I was able to create something that I've created today and I'm really proud of.
There is so much to double click on here. The few things I'll say is, first of all, respect, Jim. I think villains and heroes have the same backstory. They just decided to adapt and take it differently. And you decided to rebuild yourself from that, massive loss, we could say, and that big back from that. And I think I agree with you. It's the journey to go back from rock bottom is typically what builds the best business owners, founders, men and women afterwards. So congrats. Fast forward 2026. What's the problem that you help people solve now? What is it that you're helping them achieve?
Yeah, so the business has changed a lot over the years. So if you did the math, 2012, 14 plus years ago, today we work mainly with smaller companies. And when I say small, I don't mean tiny, 20 employees, 40 employees, sometimes 100. Some of our clients are bigger than that, but we help them with a couple of different things. One of them really is about the founder dependency problem. So let me describe the problem a little bit. Being founder dependent in your business means you are the business. You're the most important person. You're the MVP. You're making decisions. You're probably selling most things, if not everything. You're working harder than everyone else. You tend to make more of the decisions. You are the chief firefighter. You are wondering, why does it have to be this way? Why am I keep pulling people? Why do I have so many people problems? And all of that compounds into stress and overload and burnout. And maybe not everyone feels all of those things, but they definitely feel like there's a better way to move forward. Again, I share this with you because I think a lot of us have been through this stage, and it's fine in the beginning because we've got that energy and passion to push through. But if our only lever is to work harder on the growth of our business, then we're not really leading the company the way we could. And so I've created a bunch of tools, a bunch of frameworks, and the coaching behind it that facilitates a new level of thinking, a new level of operating, and how you show up as a leader. Moving from founder dependent to founder led is a pretty good jump that we can do very quickly. In fact, most of our clients can do this in about 3 months, sometimes 4 months. But it's very quick journey if you want to make the transformation. But the real heart of the work that we do is what I would call creating team-driven cultures, team-driven companies, helping businesses go from founder dependent, where the founder makes all the decisions, to one where those decisions are pushed into the different levels of leadership, and people are growing. People are sharing those ideas. People are really contributing to all areas of growth and innovation of the business. And that business is more valuable. That business is more fun to run, less stressful for sure. And we've helped a number of companies get through this. And at the same time, we're growing their revenues, we're growing their profitability. But what we're really growing is the value of their company. Because if you are a founder dependent business, and I'll speak directly and frankly, your business may not even be viable because it's based on you. It's based on your work, your contacts, your ideas. And that no one wants to buy. But if you have a business that runs on systems, that runs on leadership, and you don't have to be there, you're like optional, then you have something that people will want to buy. And if it's growing, it's probably worth a lot more than those businesses out there that are unsellable.
Yeah, that's hitting on the nail. You've mentioned small businesses, but not too small, so 20, 40 employees. Why is that?
Well, I've worked with smaller for sure. I worked with companies that had no employees and there's no one to delegate to. So it's just about the sheer work of that founder. And I've been that business for a long time. And it works until you start hiring people, and then you hire a few more people, and you hire a few more people. And all of a sudden at 10, you've got a group of people, but you don't necessarily have a team, especially when you don't know how to lead. And I went through this too in every company that I've ever built before I became a coach, because I was a serial entrepreneur. I had to learn how to lead. I had Linda as my coach, and Linda really helped me in a profound way. But when I started stepping in with businesses and I really wanted to help them get to team driven, I thought about it. You need to have a team. And I will say, nearly every company I've ever gone into realizes that some of the players shouldn't be invited to the next level of the mission. And I say that with a smile. The people that got you here may not be the people that get you there. That's a common phrase that gets thrown around in entrepreneurism. Entrepreneurship. And so I've seen it. I've seen clients that have gone through this where co-founders had to change. They buy them out. I see them when executive teams had to change, when key leaders just couldn't make the jump. Early employees that they felt a sense of family and loyalty to did not make the journey as they needed to level up. And there's many different reasons for this, but what it all comes down to is, in order to create team driven, you got to be willing to let go of the old model of leadership and operating. And you got to step into truly being a CEO, truly being someone who thinks about leadership probably more than they think about the bottom line, in my opinion. Because a lot of leadership requires empathy, compassion. And I have all the conversations every day about too much compassion and too much empathy as well. But it takes the right dose of leadership to create a real team-driven approach. And that's the kind of company that people want to buy, is those that have gone through that journey.
Do you have a specific, so I like it, that does make sense. Do you have a specific industry, niche, vertical that you operate into, or it's pretty much now any business between 20 and 40 employees? How do you think
I definitely won't say it's any business. And I will, give you a little bit of the journey history, because I've been doing this for a long time. So it's always a background. I started out working with marketing companies. I was really fascinated with marketing. I had spent a lot of money on marketing that didn't pay off. And when I first started working with marketing companies, I was really good at getting them to narrow their focus to the right client. And here's a question I used to give them that I just think is a very powerful question for anyone who's in marketing. It works for other industries, but who would you work with if you only got paid for performance? Because a lot of marketing companies are good at selling a project. They're not quite as good at selling the actual outcome that we want, the reason why we hired them.
What's the outcome that we want, Gene?
When you're hiring a marketing company, you want to generate more quality sales, more revenue, more profitability. You don't want just a pretty website. You want something that works for you. And maybe it's not even websites. Maybe it's videos, or maybe it's a podcast, or whatever it may be. You want the thing to actually make a profound impact and have an ROI. Does that make sense?
It does. It's so interesting. So obviously, I want the spotlight to be focused on the guest here. So if people want to find out about what we do, they'll check us out and they know me. The thing with marketing agencies, something that I've noticed is that it's in the name. It's marketing. Sales is something else. And I've banged my head against putting marketing on a system that doesn't know or can't close deals. And you don't get the results that ultimately you want. It doesn't mean that the marketing is broken. It just means that we don't have the system to close the deals and the leads that the marketing channel, whatever it is. As you said, I believe anything can work. SEO can work, website can work, speaking at conferences can work, dancing on TikTok can work, podcasts can work. But if you don't have a way to close the leads, any amount of marketing won't help.
Well, let's reframe it then. Marketing isn't just about a lead. It's about positioning that person to be ready to buy. Are they the right person? Are they ready to make a decision moving forward? Now, then you have to have good sales. And I'm not saying that I didn't. Part of my journey, just to take a little side story behind this, is learning how to build a service-based business. I spent a lot of money learning how to sell. At one point in time, I had 2 sales coaches. I was in like a small group situation with one sales coach getting feedback. And then that was working, but I was like, I'm going to amplify this. And I found someone I really trusted to give me one-on-one advice. And I really liked both experiences. But that year, I spent over $100,000 in my own development of sales. All that being said, I used to only work with marketing companies. Then about 3 or 4 years into it, I outgrew most of the marketing companies. My pricing needed to scale up because I needed to make a healthier profit on what I was doing as we were moving forward. And a lot of the companies we were working with were smaller. And so there are big agencies I could have probably moved into, but I decided to take a jump. And the jump was this. I had 2 of my marketing clients make the Inc. 5000. Are you familiar with the Inc. 5000, Guillaume?
It's
so
the fastest growing companies, I think.
Excuse me?
It's the fastest growing companies, right? Is that what Inc. 5000?
I'll add a couple of things in there. It's North America, and it's privately held. So they're not publicly traded companies. That being said, you have to have at least 2 million in revenue to qualify. Well, I was working with a lot of marketing companies, and 2 of my clients shot past 2 million. In fact, both of them were I think one was in the 600s and 700s out of 5,000 in a 3-year growth rate. And I was proud to help them do that. And I think that was 2014, I think. It was a long time ago. But what happened next was really interesting. I started to be curious about other Inc. 5000 companies, what industries that they were in, what their positioning was, how they approached their markets. And it gave me a different view of this. And I ended up completely changing my business after changing my podcast to interviewing just random friends and people who have interest to me, authors and speakers and things like that, to working and interviewing founders from the Inc. 5000. I love deep research, Guillaume, and I was like, I'm going to be the person who understands growth more than anyone else. And how I'm going to do that is through my podcast, Growth Think Tank. We changed the name from Leaders in the Trenches to, as you guys, reimagining the podcast. It happens. I have done over 800 interviews. We've been running our podcast for over 12 years. And it was an incredible journey to listen into the different business models, the different ways of positioning your business, the ways of how you sell, how you lead. But there were some common patterns behind it. And those patterns I have tuned into. I'm an engineer by education, not by profession. And so I love data. I love to look at the patterns and systems of things. And I have helped my clients by introducing all of the interviews, call it research, back into them as a coach. And so I've worked with more Inc. 5000 companies in leadership development than anyone else in the world. And that's because of the relationships I built through that journey. Now, if we fast forward to today, we work with a few Inc. 5000 companies. Some of them just don't apply. They have the revenue growth to be there. One of my clients more recently was at 5.5 million. They'll be at 7 to 8 this year. The way they've grown at 40% a year, they would have made the list easily. But to answer your question now, it took a long time to say this. It's a variety of different industries. We have manufacturing, financial services, some software, not working with marketing companies anymore at the moment. But what the commonality is they're founder dependent, and they want to no longer be founder dependent. They want to build something that there's a team driven approach to this. And we've got the playbook for it. We've got the tools and the frameworks that really help you do this. And then we can help unlock the grip that something has on every founder that they have to get to. And there's a few common grips. We can unpack any of those you want, but there's a few of them that have to be addressed in order for them to move to that next level of leadership.
So I like that. Before we get there, I want to double click on a few things, Gilles. So obviously you've shifted and evolved in who you're helping and who you're focusing on. I love the journey, obviously, like refining the avatar, finding out who you get the best results for, and also who's going to help you build the best business, right? And have the biggest impact. What has worked for you to get the attention of those Inc. 5000 founders or business owners? You mentioned the podcast. Is that something that you've doubled down on that brought you the most business? Is there something else? Like, what has worked for you marketing wise? Working with all these marketing firms to get the attention of the right people?
So as everything, marketing changes probably faster than anything else, in my opinion, because what worked 3 months ago could be dead in the water or just have lackluster results. And I will tell you, the number one strategy over the years has been my podcast. I won't apologize for this, but first it was the listeners. When I first got into podcasting, I don't know, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think I had like 100,000 downloads in the first maybe 8 months. So not terribly small, but not huge. And I had made more than $100,000. So I was like, oh, I've made more than $1 a download. Like that's kind of cool. But as I began to level up in the kinds of customers I went after, and less listeners were actually coming in through that channel. Now, I have clients that listen to the show. I have people who have reached out to us and have become clients that are listeners. But what actually became the strategy behind it is we went out there. I can't remember who said this, but they're like, if you want to work with people that inspire you, then you should actually look for people who inspire you to build those relationships. And so we were looking at Inc. 5000 companies, top level companies, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, 14, 50, 100, 500, all those numbers, because we've had 800 interviews. So we had all, we don't have all the numbers covered. Be impossible. We have to have more than 5,000 shows, but we have gone out there and really, connected with a lot of those business owners. And that is what, when we connected with them, we brought them on the show, I was very blunt with them. I said, look, I'm interviewing you because of what you have to say about leadership. I'm not here to make you a client, but if there is some type of way we can serve you, maybe now or even down the road, I'd love for you to think of us. And that's the way I kind of left it. And I built a relationship around that. And I tried to serve as much as I could. And so we made millions of dollars off of that over the long term. And some of our best clients have come through that channel of being a guest on the show. And so that was our number one channel. Now, as things change, so does marketing. And so now the way we're getting attention, and we're still working on this. And this has been my number one struggle over the last 12 months is replacing that channel that didn't work as effectively as it used to. And so we've been doing meta ads. We've been doing some people call them webinars. I call them workshops. And we've been getting people to raise their hand and say, yeah, I've got that problem. And they come in and we build relationship. We give them some value. And we've got a flow of projects, kind of a ladder, if you will, that allows us to crawl, walk, run with our client. They make different levels of investments as they move through this. And our conversion rate for each one is over 50%. So when we're actually talking to the right person, it's more than 50% that buy that first project, and then 50% continue to project phase 2, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So that's the way the business operates now.
So I know we are going down the rabbit hole of marketing here, but you're taking me there, Gene, and this is gold. So I want to double down on this. Why do you feel, again, if you're comfortable sharing, why do you feel podcast as a funnel and relationships as a funnel is working less today? What do you feel is that?
I don't know if it's working less for everyone. I can tell you my theory for me. And it goes back to my ICP, which is a frame from marketing, the ideal client profile. If my ICP has 20 employees, how much time do they have to listen to a podcast?
Not much.
They're so busy with work, putting out fires, dealing with people problems. They're already working early, coming in at 5 o'clock in the morning, working past 8, weekends. They do listen, they do read, but it's just that the attention span has gotten even smaller. And I think this is probably across the board. I know my attention span. I was just watching YouTube before we started this because I had a little bit of lunch, and I was watching YouTube, and there were videos that were 28 minutes and there were videos that were like shorts. And I'm like, oh, that one's probably like 90 seconds. I watched the shorts. So I think I don't even have a long form podcast. I don't know if I've ever listened to the full length of a Tim Ferriss, Joe Rogan, 2 hour plus podcast. Who has the time? Even the Diary of a CEO, great podcast, but some of them are over 2 hours long. And I'm like, I prefer a little bit shorter version of this. That being said, I think within my ICP, they don't have as much time to listen to the podcast the way they used to before COVID and whatnot. And we saw our download numbers go down. I mean, it was a little confusing for me to go from 40,000 a month down to 8,000 a month. And that number is kind of vanity. And I continue to do great content. Nothing's changed there. But I think people their listening habits, their reading habits have changed. But then again, I still publish books. I just published one recently called How to Have Tough Conversations that we love. And our most recent book, Get Founder Freedom. Not available on Amazon, only available through our ad structure right now because we're kind of testing everything. But even the reading of books has slowed down for people because they don't have time.
I could talk about this all day. I love it, Gene. But thanks for sharing this. And I agree. I think it has to do with attention span as well. Not more than the fact of not having the time anymore, but we're just getting used more and more to get things fast, and like sitting down to listen to a 60 minutes podcast is not what everybody wants to do. But it's interesting. And one thing I totally agree with you on is marketing is constantly evolving, especially nowadays. I think this is true for any industry really, but like the business of getting attention from the right people is getting harder and harder as there is so much more noise in the space, thanks to all the tools that allow you to make noise without necessarily standing out. Kind of shifting gears here. Talk to me about retention, working with those Inc. 5,000 companies or above that $2-3 million threshold. Once you help them transform a business from founder dependent to not founder dependent, what happens next? How do you optimize for retention? How do you keep clients? How do you do that?
I know this is like probably not what anyone wants to hear. How do you keep clients? You do a good job for them. You really keep pushing the boundaries of impact. And the way we've done that for our clients is measured in a couple of different ways. One of them is revenue growth and value of their company. Both of those things are tracking really well. Now, here's the cheat. I work with companies that are already growing, already in that momentum of growth, and I'm just helping them harness it. I'm helping them take advantage of it. And sometimes I have to slow them down because the chaos of growth is sometimes what's getting in the way, and they need to build a stronger foundation. But how do I keep those clients? You keep adding value. You keep pushing them. You know, one of the things I do most for leaders is to help them transform their own identity. And I know that's kind of weird for people to say, but your identity as a founder in the early stages of the business is you are the business. You have to learn to let go of that and let go of your authority. You work hard to build it. And now it's time to actually let go of that authority. But you got to do it the right way. You got to do it with the right structures, the right empowerment, because I've seen it fall apart when you just try to, give it away. And so we continue to make value for our clients. Do they have ups and downs in their cycles, just like every business? Yes. But we add value as much as we can. And I say we because it's not just me anymore. I've got a coach, multiple coaches on my team that are part of the delivery system. And so we're not just touching one person and in a traditional coaching standpoint, but we're touching sometimes 8 people or 12 people for some accounts. And so we are really building advocates at many different levels. So when it goes to renewal time, there's not one person that goes, oh yeah, I just want to do that. It's like, oh, I'm really getting value. I've grown my confidence. I've grown my skill set. I'm learning to do this. I'm learning to do that. I'm still working on this. And so we're embedded inside of these relationships. And so we've had some clients for 4 and 5 years. So that makes it much easier for us to continue to add value. Because once we're out the door, they do come back. We just started with another client that's probably on their 3rd or 4th project with us. But they know that we've added value at every step of the journey. But ideally, they never go away. They just keep working with us.
That's what we all wish for ourselves. That makes sense. Doing a good work, usually a good tactic to retain clients. What's some of the big opportunities that you see in your space, Jim? And I'm going to double down on that question just for the sake of time, but what's one of the biggest challenges that you're facing right now as well? So what's one big challenge, one big opportunity that you see in your business and in your space in the next 3 to 6 months?
Did you say opportunity?
So both. One big challenge, one big opportunity. And I'm starting to ask this question more and more together because I feel it's oftentimes the 2 sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
But it's not the case. So we can start with the challenge and finish on the opportunity or the other way around, however you prefer.
So I'm a coach, right? And a lot of people have different perspectives of coaches. Some people probably never hired a coach. Some people had bad experiences with coaches. Some people had good experiences. Some people have had phenomenal experiences. I've never had a bad coach. To be honest with you, I know that I get what I put into it. That's my mindset. And so some are better than others, and I hire them for different domains. And I've probably had 20 coaches in 20 plus years of entrepreneurship. But when I say the challenge that we're facing right now, a lot of people are thinking that you're going to get insight from some chat bot, some AI, ChatGPT, some Claude or whatever. Yes, there's a lot of insight, and I use it a lot. I'll give you an example. This is kind of an interesting kind of thing. We wanted we created a book called How to Have Tough Conversations. I have to raise the book up when I talk about it, right? And this is a new added to it. Version 2, nothing's really changed other than we put the IP into a private GPT. And for one sentence to explain for anyone who doesn't know what that is it's a closed system within ChatGPT just referencing the impact of our IP, the internal workings of our system for tough conversations. And I didn't even know this is possible, but there is a role play option in there. So they'll walk you through all this. It'll ask you questions, get you prepared for your next tough conversation. And we give it away for free. We'll give it away for you guys for free if you want it. But it will actually role play with you. And it is brilliant. That all being said, I know a lot of people who are still struggling with tough conversations. So you can have the tool, you can have the insight, you can read about it, but you don't. What needs to be happen is you need to be unlocked. You need to realize why you don't just need to know about something. You need to realize what's getting in the way, what has a grip on you, and that is the facilitation that makes us different. I can give away all my frameworks and not be worried. Those are also very commoditized right now through AI. So the biggest challenge is winning over people thinking I can just get insight from my chatbot versus the real human-to-human relationship. I think that the work I do is still heart-centered, still requires a connection, and it requires a level of honesty and challenge of my clients and go, yeah, I hear you saying that, but I don't see it really. Or I know there's doubt behind that voice, and AI is not doing that yet, and it won't for a while. And so I know the work we have to unlock someone is powerful, but we still are facing a new competitor, if you will, inside the space. It's not some other coach. It's not even doing nothing. It's, I can get this from my chat with Claude or whatever you prefer. So that's one of the biggest challenges we're facing. I thought it was getting in the way, and I can easily go down that rabbit hole with my thinking. But as I talk to my clients and I hear the impact they're making, and I'm like, well, why did you struggle with this before? It's like, because you helped me unlock it. You helped me see it differently. You helped me see the perspective. You helped me hold me accountable in a way that no one else has before. And that's the power of the coaching that me and my team bring to these opportunities.
Gene Hammett, ladies and gentlemen. Gene, if people want to find out more about you, see what you do, where should they go?
Home base is coreelevation.com. That's the legal name of the company. Our podcast is at Growth Think Tank, and my personal website is at genehammett.com. All of those things. But if you're really just you're curious about freedom, I'll give you one URL, and it's a long one. I should probably make this shorter, but freebook.coreelevation.com. And it's all about getting freedom in your business. If you want to figure out the 8 freedoms that you have to work through to create real freedom in your business, we've unlocked it there in that book.
For those who don't remember the links already, like me, we'll put all the links in the description. So go and check out Gene's work. For what I'm concerned, Gene, you've gained at least 1 new connection on LinkedIn out of this interview. Me, I just added you. Thank you so much for coming on the Principles Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Guillaume.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Leaders Podcast. We hope you learned valuable lessons on how to grow your practice and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.